Hello, and we are back with our Batman the Animated Series episodes commentary. And today's episode is one that I love very much, called Mudslide, an episode featuring the return of Clayface in this show. So, as usual, let me do my countdown so we can watch the episode together. If you are watching in your DVD box set or Blu-ray box set, or streaming service with Batman the Animated Series, all right? So let's go in 3, 2, 1, give it a play. The Warner Bros. Logo is on the screen. And yes, Mudslide, one of my favorite episodes in this show, because also Clayface is one of my favorite villains from Batman's Rogues Gallery. And this episode in particular is very interesting for me because it has a very horror style of story, a horror tone to the whole plot and to the whole mood of the episode. It's very gothic in nature. The animation is very dark, very bleak, and it also takes us back to the classic horror movies of the past, especially the monster horror movies like the Universal classics like Frankenstein or The Wolfman. And here we're going to see a continuation of the tragic story of Clayface. In fact, the title card that will appear right now is very telling of what kind of story we will see. We have a mask, a theater mask, showing a sad face with the shadow of Clayface on the side. And this is very telling of the monster tragic story that this episode will have. And I love this. I love it so much. And so we start the episode with this building. The security guards are checking the whole premises around the building to see if everything's okay. It's very late at night. And then one of the security guards has, how do you say, it has a copy, or another guy shows up with the same face of the previous security guards that was checking the premises. So we know that something is wrong, right? Because, a double ganger, that's the word that I was trying to find out. And he enters the elevator and he's going up the building to probably steal something. And this is where the other security guards watch on the cameras and see that his real partner is still checking the premises. So who was the one who went on the elevator, right? Plus the doppelganger is sweating a lot in the elevator. So anyway, something is weird about that. Then we cut to Batman patrolling the streets, and this is very interesting because he's checking the streets. He's probably finishing his patrol very late at night, and he calls Alfred to say that he will be home soon, and Alfred is cooking a goose for Batman. And but then he receives this alarm that a vault is being broke into in the Tarnower building, which is the building that the whole action is taking place. So then the security guard points a gun to his partner, and suddenly the partner transforms into another person. He disappears behind a wall and shows up again as the president of the company, Mr. Tarnower. And so the cop gets very confused about what's going on, and then Mr. Tarnower shoots a chunk of mud into the guy, revealing himself as Clayface, right? Then Batman shows up in the building and he checks the security guards down on the floor. And when he turns back, he receives a ball of spikes in the head made of mud. And this is where we finally see Clayface back in the picture. And and I love Clayface. I love every episode with him because the animation to create this villain is so good. It always demands more of the studios that used to produce Batman the Animated Series, right? And here we also see that Clayface, somehow his consistency is not so strong. He is almost like becoming water, right? Instead of having this very consistent mud formation in his body. So Batman knows that, or he figures out right away that Clayface is very weak for some reason. So he goes after Clayface, and as usual, we're going to have a little fight between them, but Batman realizes that Matt Hagen, the original name of Clayface, Matt Hagen is very weak for some reason, so he is there in the building to get something, right? And this is going to give Batman the first clue to investigate what Clayface is after. He is very slow as well, and he cannot hit Batman properly with his arm weapons. This is something very interesting that it was established in the first episode with Clayface in the show, is that the more he transforms into something, the more energy gets drained from his body. So it's a very interesting rule for Clayface in here. It's almost like a muscle, right? If he uses too much, he will get eventually weak. And this is where a car shows up, and a woman driving the car tells Matt Hagen to get in. So the monster enters the car and she drives off, leaving, Clayface leaves in the car, but he leaves a lot of trail of mud behind so Batman can get it. And then we cut to this huge house on top of a cliff, which is my favorite scenario in this episode, is the lab where this woman lives. She's a doctor or a scientist called Stella, and if you have Marlon Brando, callbacks or a Easter egg of Marlon Brando because of the name Stella. If you understand this Easter egg, good for you. But she is developing this chamber that can transform Clayface's body into a solid material, almost like a ceramic vase. I don't know, but the whole machine can take him back to a solid state so that he doesn't crumble with mud, right? And while doing this process, you can notice that she is in love with him. She actually loves Matt Hagen, right? And we're gonna discover more about this later. Like I said, this is one of my favorite episodes because of the whole gothic nature. The cliff with the huge house is so amazing and so well animated, because we have this whole dark landscape around. You can see the city of Gotham in the background, completely black. And then in the end of the episode, we're going to have this final fight between Clayface and Batman in the rain. And this is even more, it transforms the whole mood of the episode even more into a horror kind of story. So that's why I love it so much. And I actually made a video here in the channel, you can check it out later, that covers the whole trajectory of this character, of this villain here in Batman the Animated Series. I will actually put the link right here if you want to watch it later. And it starts in the first 2 episodes of this show with his origin, and then we go to this one, and then we actually finish in the 4th season of the show, that is the redesign one, where we have all the characters redesigned, Batman and the New Adventures, right? And with the episode Growing Pains, that is also pretty good. And I covered this whole trajectory of the character because probably he has my favorite arc of character in this show. The arc of Matt Hagen from his origin, passing by this episode and then finishing with Growing Pains, is my favorite of the whole show. It's fascinating because it's so tragic, but at the same time, it has all these nuances, and that's probably why, this version of Clayface. That's probably why I love so much this villain in the Batman lore, and I really, really want to see more of him in other medias, especially in live action. So if you want to watch my video of Clayface's arc in the show, it will be right here on the screen. Speaking of which, of seeing this character in other medias, today it was released a trailer of the new DCU animation Creature Commandos, and I didn't make a video about it because honestly, I'm not really excited about this show. Those are not characters that I know or I am familiar with, and even though I do like, the idea of monsters like the Bride of Frankenstein or other kinds of characters like that, I don't know. I just don't care so much. So I didn't make a video about it. But in the trailer of this new show that will be on the Max streaming, we saw a glimpse of a Clayface character fighting Rick Flag Sr. in one scene, and many channels are actually confirming that is Clayface, and I don't know, it really looks like him, and I guess, if you're gonna make a character that is so similar to the one we saw before, it's because it's probably him, right? So it was very interesting that this new animation is gonna have Clayface in some manner or in some fashion. We still have to see more to figure out what or how is this character gonna be featured in the show, and which Clayface version will this be? Because if you don't know, Clayface in the comics has many different identities. What I'm trying to say is that there are many Clayfaces during the years, right? We started with Basil Karlo in the golden age of comics, or in the beginning of the comics, right? With he was just a guy wearing a mask and a clay mask that killed people on a movie set, just like the last animation Caped Crusader. Then we have other versions like Matt Hagen, and I'm not so familiar with the other ones, but there are many different people who transformed into Clayface during the years. And it remains to be seen which version of the character will be in this show. But anyway, that was just a tangent, but I thought it was a coincidence that I was going to cover and comment this episode today. And today, the trailer was released, having a first glimpse of what could be the Clayface version of the DCU, right? Of the movie universe. So if we see that version in a movie one day, I will be extremely happy. The whole monster, metamorph version. But anyway, the thing is, going back to the episode, we have this amazing scene where Clayface, he again broke into another lab, and he got this, I forgot what it was, but I guess it's a substance that is going to help him to go back to his normal self with the help of the doctor. So he broke into the lab and transformed into a scientist inside the lab. And then we have this fucking awesome scene that is probably one of my favorites in this show, where the woman, Clayface as the woman, she escapes from the lab and starts to, run on the streets of Gotham, and she enters a subway. She goes down the subway station and enters the train, the subway. And in there, she starts to transform back into Clayface because she can't I mean, he can't keep his consistency for too long. So he starts to go back to be Clayface, and the woman, she goes to a window and her face starts to melt into mud, right? So this is what I'm saying about the whole horror tone that this episode has. It's so fucking awesome. And this child in the train calls her mom saying, "Oh my God, what's happening with that woman?" And all of a sudden, she transforms into the monster. She starts to melt completely and everybody runs away. It's amazing. I love it. And then Batman shows up and we have this fight in the train. Clayface, in the end of the scene, he ends up jumping from the subway once it is out of the tunnel, of the underground tunnel, and falls into a truck passing underneath a bridge, and he ends up escaping from Batman. Again, incredible scene, and really faithful to the whole horror tone, horror mood that this episode has. But anyway, during my tangent, speaking about Creature Commandos, we also discovered that the woman, Stella, that is helping Clayface, she is actually an old fan of his movies, because remember, Matt Hagen was an actor and before becoming Clayface, so she was a fan of his movies, so she watches his movies crying and all this stuff, and Clayface shows up breaking the TV because he says to her he's no longer Matt Hagen, and he gets angry, but he also loves her, in some way. So it's a kind of romantic and tragic love story here. And right now we just passed the scene, but we see Batman getting to the Batmobile and leaving the Batcave, and we had thunder or a lightning go crashing outside. And I love this little detail of this lightning crashing, because it sets the moods of the whole storm and rainy battle that will occur very soon. And then Batman goes to the house on the cliff, and he interrupts the process of transforming Clayface back into his old self that it was about to work. So Batman, he turns off the machines, and Clayface gets pissed. Actually, Stella gets pissed and tries to attack Batman in a very strange scene, because she ends up falling over her own glasses or vials of substances on a table and almost kills herself. And then Clayface, he explodes out of his ceramic shell and goes back to be the monster, and now he's in full form to fight Batman. And we have this amazing scene, one of my favorite ones from this fight, that Clayface, he grabs Batman and shoves him inside his own body. And it's awesome because we see Batman struggling inside the whole body of mud of Clayface, trying to leave the interior because he is losing air, right? And then we see Clayface saying that he's feeling Batman. He's feeling Batman's heartbeats slowing down. So he is actually going to kill Batman with no remorse, but Batman is able to use his grappling hook and shoot it outside Clayface and pull himself out of the monster. And that's freaking awesome. I love it. And well, now the fight is gonna be taken outside. We have this heavy rain going on in the night, and It's almost like a storm, and this is only bad for Clayface because his body will not hold he himself. I mean, he will crumble because he's getting weak again, and with the rain and the water falling so hard over him, he is absorbing it, which will cause him to completely melt, so to speak, right? So we have this amazing, amazing shot of him trying still trying to fight Batman, cornering him into the edge of the cliff, but then he falls. I mean, both of them fall from the cliff. Batman, of course, shoots his cable up, and he's able to wrap the cable on a rock on the side of the cliff. And Clayface grabs his leg from below in order not to fall. But since his body is so soft and crumbling, he won't be able to hold for too long. So he ends up falling, and we have this amazing villain classic fall to his death on the ocean below, right? And it's very sad because Stella loved him, right? And the most shocking thing is that we actually get to see Clayface basically vanishing underwater, right? And which gives us this idea that he's probably dead, even though we will end up discovering that his molecules maybe were taken by the ocean to this I don't know how to say now, but there was this factory, right, in another side of the ocean that had these chemicals on the water, and he was able to put himself back together. But this is another story, right? So anyway, we're gonna see this in the future, all right? And this is it, Mudslide, another great episode from the show. If you are liking the content of BATGUS and these commentaries, please don't forget to leave your beloved like in this video and your most beautiful subscription in this channel, all right? See you in the next Bat video, and bye-bye.